Happy New Year and welcome back to another episode from the Optimal Body Podcast. I'm Doc Jen.
And I'm Dr. Dom.
And today we're talking about goals because it's a new year, but we're going to reframe some SMART goals and turn them into our own and show you what we do with goals. So before we dive into some of our specific goals here, we're going to give specific examples and show you how good we are with our goals.
Yikes.
But don't forget to hit the subscribe because we have so many other episodes that we've done in the past, whether they're about past pains, diagnoses, exercises you could do for different pains. So please hit that subscribe and comment below if you like what you hear, if you're setting goals this year, and if you have requests for the new year moving forward.
Everyone's setting goals right now, being that it's New Year's, and they don't always go super well. And how do you set up goals in a way that are going to set you up for success?
Yeah. So we want to give you an example of like what we do specifically for goals. Like not only do we have this cool little book that we make for each other each year, I feel like I've made one, you've made one, and we write down a couple goals, but also we present them in a different way so that we see them every time. So we're going to talk through that. But first, let's go over like a way that most people define goals is through what's called SMART goals.
Yeah, it's a really like popularized one. And we even learned this when we're going through like PT school. How to create SMART goals for your client, because you want to create goals that you can measure, you can actually have some sort of value and quantitative value to tell you like, yes, I achieved the goal. One I'm always going to come back around to is just like, I want to lose weight. Like that's not necessarily a goal, right? Because how do you know when you've gotten there? How do you know when that's achieved or if it's sustainable? All these things we're going to talk about inside this framework of SMART. And SMART is an acronym that where each letter stands for something different. And we're going to add in our own little SMART variation as kind of like an addition to each letter. Like what other word can you add into that to even bolster up your chances for success in those goals?
This, whole SMART acronym was created in 1981 by someone named George T. Doran.
Thank you, Mr. Doran.
Which is great. I think it's still something that you can follow, that you can look at, which is the S stands for specific. Make sure it is a specific goal. The M stands for make sure it is measurable. Make sure that it is achievable.
Yes.
Make sure that it is relevant. Make sure it's time-based. So it's a good framework to follow. We're going to expand upon that and give you our own acronym as to something that we think that we try to aim for within this SMART way of thinking every time we're writing down goals for ourselves each month.
Yeah. And what do each of those mean? So like when you're going through the SMART acronym, making something specific, you want to be talking about one specific thing. Because if you just make like a broad goal, like I want to move more, or I want to exercise more, that's a specific area of exercise. So great. Like that's one layer of specificity. But even what within exercise or what within moving more are you wanting to do more of it? Is it I want to go on more walks? I want to run more? Like how do you add that extra layer of specificity in? And then if we go to the next one, which is M, being measurable, how do you add some layer of quantity to it? So if you're going to say I want to walk more,
what does that mean?
What does that mean? Okay, I want to walk for 15 minutes 4 times a week.
Yes.
Right? And that's your measurable components, the 15 minutes and the 4 times a week. Again, we're getting more and more specific, but now we're also able to measure that, something that's achievable. If we're sticking with the walking.
Can you do 15 minutes 4 times a week?
Yeah. Do you have the schedule that allows you to do that? Which is why you don't always want to start with, I want to walk for an hour a day. Like how much are you walking now?
Yeah.
Are you getting out once a week for, 10, 15, 20 minutes?
What does your schedule look like? Is that something that you'd really be able to achieve?
Yeah. And then that kind of plays right into realistic. Is it realistic
relevant.
that I'm relevant? Is it relevant to my day to day? So relevant, I want to walk more. And that's kind of lying under this other umbrella of I want to move or I want to exercise more. Great. That seems relevant to that goal.
Yeah.
Or if you have a dog or if you have a child that you want to go on walks with, that can be much more relevant to life because again, it's adding that extra purpose in. And then the T is time.
So how long are you going to do this for?
Yeah. How long are you going to do it for? Or how long do you want to take to achieve that goal? Walking X amount of times a week, then you can say for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You can add in that extra layer of time. Like, okay, I want to do this for 6 weeks and then reassess.
Yeah.
And that's when you can either bolster up that goal if it seemed like you were achieving that on a regular basis, or dial it back if you feel like you need some adjustment.
We also want to go into how we kind of set the SMART goals acronym ourselves.
A little add-on.
Yeah. So for the S, we look at sustainability.
Yes. So not only should it be specific, but sustainable.
Yes.
Again, I want to walk an hour a day. Are you going to sustain that? Is that something that you're going to do for life? Or is it something that you're doing for training 2 to 3 months from now? And then after that, you know you're going to dial back to just walking half an hour 3 times a week.
But I think making something so sustainable, we have to think about our mental health when it comes into goal making. I think we neglect that sometimes because we look at, I have to be this goal-oriented person. I have to be doing something. I have to have purpose. And we think of the go, go, go a lot of times, which creates a lot of burnout. So sustainability is like having those goals in mind that aren't pushing you to the edge of mental breakdown.
There's a lot of research on setting goals. I'm thinking specifically in the dietary realm. Like if you set dietary goals and they're very strict and stringent, that those start to become so important that it actually starts impacting relationships. It starts impacting work, other duties. So if you're setting a goal that becomes so important to you and you become so engrossed in it that you find it's affecting other areas of life, again, not sustainable. So why we have our couple goals book is this goal meaningful?
Yes.
And that is synonymous to me to purpose.
Yeah.
And so when you're creating any sort of goal, ask yourself that, but why question? And I want to go to kind of like a weight loss example for this. Many people will set a goal that they want to lose weight, and that's totally okay. And then you should ask yourself, but why?
Exactly.
Why do I feel like I want to lose weight? Is it because I want to feel healthier and more powerful in my body? I want to feel empowered when I walk into a room. I want to set a good example for my children. Like, what is that underlying purpose?
Yeah, I want to start changing lab levels or something like that. But is it for the purpose of like, well, I feel like I'll get the guy if I do this, or I feel like I'll be whatever on social media. It's like, is it external?
And may be able to motivate us in a short term, but long term, they are seen to not be nearly as powerful as some sort of internal motivator, some deep value level purpose that is driving us for that goal. The A that we are adding in to the SMART acronym is accountable or accountability.
And accountability is something we talk about all the time, and why I love especially doing challenges, because it draws that act of accountability. We're all starting this at this point together. I'm moving with a big group. I'm held accountable. Maybe I'm going to post so that I'm going to try to win a prize. When you have that extra layer of accountability, it just helps so much. But I had a friend who I called every single week, and we'd say, okay, what are your goals this week? What did you do last week? And so we had someone that we were verbally kind of committing to as to what we were doing. And now when Dom and I do it, we write it on a whiteboard so that we pass it every day. And I kind of ask him, as I'm going to check off my boxes, oh, have you done this today?
You'll notice all my boxes are blank. I feel like, Dom, have you
No, but we'll hold each other accountable in that way. And then R we put was realistic, which goes, I think, hand in hand a little bit with achievable. But this is so incredibly important when it comes to making goals. Is it realistic within your life? Is it something sustainable? Is it something you want? Or is it something that you can take smaller steps to start to achieve? And then the last one, T, what we really focus on is task oriented. And this is kind of everything we've been talking about, right? Breaking it down into those day-to-day tasks of what are those small little actionables that I'm taking in order to create the end goal result that I want, whether it's the end of the day or the end of the week, the end of the month. Right. And so again, coming back to, am I making this huge New Year's goal, like this big, huge New Year's goal, or am I really trying to more so focus on what I can do in an actionable day-to-day step?
And like we do, especially for business, we create yearly goals, or we write out an entire year of what we want to achieve in our calendar, but you need to break that down because there's like this level of these macro goals or these overarching yearly goals. But in order to hit that yearly goal, create the 6-month goal, create the 1-month goal, create the 1-week goal. And so how do you start to distill that down to the tasks that I get to do today to then achieve that goal a year down the road?
That's where I break it down to the day. And then before I go to bed, and this is before I go to bed, so that I'm not up stressing about all the things that I didn't get to do or I need to do, I just write it into my calendar. So if I have my blocks of certain times that I'm getting work done, what am I doing this block? What am I doing this block? What am I doing this block? So that I already like getting it out the day before, so that I also am prepared as to what is my main focus. And again, those blocks, you know that life is going to happen and things are going to come up and you got to make calls or you got to whatever happens. So I always stick to 2 to 3 main things for the day.
And now let's go through what we do. So we've kind of told you what the premise is.
And if I just I don't know how to show this through, there are months where goals are just not even
There are months where things aren't written down. Which
Woo!
Doesn't necessarily mean we didn't do them.
Oh, yeah, because sometimes we did put it in notes in our phone.
Like sometimes we'll go to Minnesota for a month and forget our book and we'll write them down in our phone.
That's true. So we've written down quite a bit, actually, which is really good. We're filming this in October, so we have our October goals here. But if we look to the month before, what we also do is we go through and we make little check marks or X's on times when we achieve something or don't achieve something.
Yeah. And again, that's kind of that recheck to holding yourself accountable to hey, did I do this? Why may I not have been able to, keep myself accountable to this goal, and having a little time to reflect. And so just as a reminder, what the two of us do together is we do 3 relationship goals. Mm-hmm. That's something to feel like we can be growing together in our connection or working out or doing exercise together, going on walks together, taking time.
Date nights.
Date nights, daily gratitudes, things like that. And then each of us will have 3 personal goals and 3 professional goals. Yeah. And then the intentional word of the month.
Let's give an example. So one of my favorite goals this last month has been every morning we do gratitudes together.
That's probably been one of my favorites as well.
And it's something that's so easy, so achievable. We say good morning to each other. What are you grateful for?
Yeah.
And it already starts the day in gratitude and something that's just
there's so much research behind doing gratitude immediately in the morning and the power that has physiologically on our mind, releasing different endorphins, showing gratitude. It can be so powerful, especially in different anxiety or depressive disorders, finding ways to have that gratitude immediately in the morning. And it helps prevent us, because we often wake up at different times of the day. If I've gotten up and realized there's something going on with our app or finances or whatever it may be, it prevents me from going right to Jen and saying this is going on and we need to fix it now, and thrusting stress into her day right when she's getting out of bed, and vice versa.
I'm probably better at thrusting stress at you, I will admit.
I mean, you said it, not me. We're not going to argue about it.
I've usually checked Slack by the time I see him and I'm like, did you know that this was happening?
Or something from the previous night, which often if you find out the previous night, then I'll get woken up.
Yeah.
We need to fix this. But that also has been by far one of my favorites. That could easily be a professional goal too. I'm just going to wake up and show gratitude towards our team for all the work that they do. Thanks for tuning in for another episode all about goal creation and our SMART squared method on how to create sustainable, long-term goals to continue to improve and set yourself up for success. Do you create goals? Do you have any strategy that you use? Please comment below, let us know, and remember to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can always stay tuned on what we're doing.